Welcome back, Boston Celtics fans, to another incredibly urgent and highly critical episode right here on the channel, where we dive absolutely deep into the most pressing storylines and breaking news updates surrounding our beloved basketball franchise as we rapidly approach the highly anticipated postseason tournament. Today we have a very serious and potentially franchise-altering situation to deeply analyze, because the latest official injury update regarding our undisputed MVP candidate Jaylen Brown might actually be significantly more concerning than just a simple routine case of late-season load management. After an absolutely incredible and physically exhausting masterclass performance against the fully loaded Oklahoma City Thunder on Wednesday night, it was honestly no big surprise to anyone in the media or the fan base to initially see Jaylen Brown listed as officially questionable on the Celtics' initial injury report heading into the Friday night matchup. He stepped onto the legendary parquet floor of the TD Garden and definitively proved absolutely everything he ever needed to prove out there in an incredibly physical and highly intense playoff atmosphere game against the absolute best team in the Western Conference. Given the massive amount of energy he expended to secure that monumental statement victory, and with the grueling playoffs so quickly approaching on the calendar, it makes a massive ton of logical sense for the coaching staff to proactively get him some well-deserved physical rest. So when the Boston Celtics organization officially ruled JB out for the Friday night game against the Atlanta Hawks, it initially did not raise any massive red flags or sound any serious alarm bells across Celtics Nation. Most fans simply assumed it was a standard scheduled day off for a superstar who has been carrying the absolute heaviest burden imaginable all season long to keep this team afloat. But when you start looking into the specific details a little bit more closely and analyzing the exact verbiage used by the medical staff, this specific situation may actually be significantly more complicated than just a simple relaxing rest night for Jaylen Brown. The official league-mandated injury report specifically and explicitly lists him as being completely out of the lineup with left Achilles tendinitis. Now that is an incredibly specific and highly concerning medical diagnosis, and it is absolutely not something that the public or the media has known him to be quietly dealing with at any point during this current magical season. We are all deeply hoping and praying that this is absolutely nothing serious and that he just has some very minor general soreness in his lower leg from the grueling physical demands of the NBA schedule. Every veteran basketball analyst knows that you never want to read entirely too much into the daily injury report, because modern NBA franchises frequently have to get somewhat creative when resting their elite star players like Jaylen Brown, just to actively avoid massive potential financial fines from the league office. The NBA has strictly cracked down on load management, so teams often use minor nagging ailments as a convenient excuse to buy their stars a necessary night of rest. Right here in the very middle of this incredibly important and highly sensitive medical breakdown, if you are appreciating our daily deep dives into the Boston Celtics championship journey, and you want to stay completely updated on all the absolute latest breaking news across the league, please take a quick second right now to passionately hit that subscribe button and leave a like on this video, because your continuous daily support is exactly what allows this channel to keep growing and bringing you the absolute best and most detailed basketball coverage anywhere on the entire platform. Getting right back into the massive implications of this specific injury designation, we will highly likely get significantly more concrete medical information directly from head coach Joe Mazzulla when the Celtics officially conduct their mandatory media availability sessions ahead of their Friday night tilt with the Hawks. But we absolutely must address the terrifying elephant in the room. If this left Achilles tendinitis is an actual legitimate lingering injury for Jaylen Brown, that would be just about the absolute most devastating and heartbreaking thing that could possibly ever happen to this extremely resilient basketball team right now. We really need to take a step back and appreciate exactly what is at stake here. Jaylen Brown is currently putting together an absolute undisputed MVP caliber season this year, doing absolutely everything imaginable for the Boston Celtics organization on both ends of the basketball floor, and looking significantly healthier and more explosive than he has in a very long time. When we look back at the historical context of last season, we now intimately know that he was bravely playing through a highly painful lingering knee injury for the vast majority of the regular year and throughout the entire grueling playoff run. He ultimately had to get corrective meniscus surgery in the summer offseason to repair the hidden damage. And now seeing him playing fully healthy and completely unbothered this year, the visible difference on the court has been absolutely monumental and completely franchise-altering. He has been the absolute rock of this team, navigating through massive early season adversity and keeping the entire locker room focused on the ultimate prize. If the Boston Celtics truly want to continue this incredible historic run and make a legitimate push for a championship title, the absolute last thing they can realistically survive is for Jaylen Brown to be physically compromised in any way, shape, or form when the playoff lights finally turn on. This terrifying medical situation is massively compounded by the undeniable reality that the Celtics are obviously already actively dealing with a significantly less than 100% version of their other franchise superstar, Jayson Tatum. Tatum is still actively trying to get his body back to complete full physical strength and get perfectly reacclimated to the extreme speed of the NBA game following his own devastating Achilles tear and subsequent 10-month recovery process. Tatum is undeniably coming along great and making miraculous progress every single week, but he is clearly and visibly playing as much more of a complementary supporting star to Jaylen Brown right now, rather than the absolute dominant alpha scorer we are all used to seeing him be in years past. If that incredibly intense victory against the Oklahoma City Thunder was any valid indication of their current ceiling, that specific dynamic of Brown being the primary offensive engine and Tatum being the secondary weapon can absolutely be more than enough to work and win games against elite competition. But that entire delicate formula completely relies on having the absolute best, most explosive, and fully healthy version of Jaylen Brown out there on the floor leading the physical charge. If both of our franchise cornerstones are suddenly battling through painful lower body injuries at the exact same time right before the playoffs begin, that would drastically and completely change the entire trajectory of the franchise and could potentially entirely derail this beautiful, magical, expectation-defying season. The entire offensive system and the defensive versatility that Joe Mazzulla has brilliantly built relies heavily on having elite, healthy wings who can completely dominate their individual matchups and attack the basket with absolute ferocity. Achilles tendinitis is a notoriously tricky and stubborn ailment that can linger for weeks or even months if it is not treated with the utmost care and absolute rest. It affects a player's explosive first step, their vertical leaping ability, and their lateral quickness on defense, which are all absolutely critical components of Jaylen Brown's elite two-way game. The medical staff in Boston is world-class, and they will undoubtedly take every single necessary precaution to ensure his long-term health. But the timing of this specific designation is what has everyone on edge. We are in the final stretch of the regular season where playoff seeding and momentum are absolutely everything. The Eastern Conference is incredibly competitive this year, and any sign of weakness or physical vulnerability will be immediately exploited by opposing coaching staffs who spend hours studying film to find any possible advantage. So once again, let us all take a deep collective breath and wait patiently until we get much more concrete medical information directly from the coaching staff and the training room before completely overreacting to a single line on a piece of paper. Hopefully this entire situation is absolutely nothing more than a very cleverly disguised and highly well-deserved day off in late March for a player who has given his absolute blood, sweat, and tears to this city all year long. But with the incredibly specific and scary left Achilles tendinitis listing officially hitting the wire, Celtics Nation's collective guard is officially up, and the entire fan base is holding its breath, waiting for good news and hoping that our superstar is completely ready to dominate when the real season finally begins.